Family, thanks so much for joining me. So I wanted to make you another video. I hope everyone is well. Happy Friday the 13th, excuse me. I hope this means that a lot of you win big, that if you play the lottery or if you play, casinos or whatever, that you win big and make lots of money. Um, so of course, this is a timeless reading. um, Use your discernment to see if this reading is for you. Can also use this as a manifestation reading. All you need to do is claim this as your own. Um, I get my information from God and from the Holy Spirit. I don't use any cards or anything. If you'd like to work with me, my information is in this description below. If you'd like to work with me on astrology readings, other types of readings, spiritual advice, twin flame stuff, feel free to reach out to me. Just keep in mind we all have masculine and feminine energies in us. So um, use those terms as they make sense in your situation. But if I say divine feminine, it might mean divine masculine for you and vice versa. All right, y'all. So let me get into it. So one of the things that I really wanted to talk about is the importance of our thoughts. And so just listening to different things and kind of putting two and two together, I haven't really heard a lot about this topic that I want to get into. And so I hope that this is helpful and um, interesting for a lot of listeners. And hopefully, you know, it's something educational. So I was talking about it in one of the readings as well, but thought it needs more time and attention. So the term that I use, one of the terms that I used was thought swapping. I've heard destiny swapping. You may have heard about destiny swapping as well, but basically, what a person would do if they're thought swapping would be they get around you and their goal is to um, actually get your thoughts to be their own for their benefit. And sometimes people don't do it on purpose. Other people actually do it on purpose. Um, and that's really unfortunate. But yes, some people do because they feel like they're trapped and they don't want to keep thinking the way that they've been thinking. So I'll give you an example of it. So let's say you have a friend that they're telling you they're depressed, they don't know what to do, but when you ask them, well, are you working on it? Are you putting effort into it? And they're saying basically no, and you're saying, well, you could do this, you could do that. These are some ways that you could work on this. And it could be a lot of different things. Could be mood stuff, could be they're sad, they're anxious, they're this, they're that, whatever it is related to mood stuff, or they feel like their mindset needs to be better. And you're asking them, well, are you working on it? And they're saying, no, I'm not really. Why can't I just be lazy and not do anything and it just magically change? And I'm like, okay, well, are you willing to work on it if there are things that you could do to work on it? And they're saying, well, no, not really. And you saying, well, why would you think that things are going to change or get better if you ain't doing nothing to make it better or to change it? And they're saying, well, they don't want to do it. They make all these excuses, or they just say, I'm not going to do it. Why should I do it? Other people don't do it. So it's every excuse in the book except them just actually putting in the work so that things can change, so that things could get better for them. But they're saying no, they don't want to do it. Why should they have to do it? Other people aren't doing it, or whatever it is. So it's the same. It could be that. It could be, well, relationships aren't going good, blah, blah, blah. And I'm saying, well, you need to turn things around for yourself in order to, attract a different person, let's say, into your life. And Are you willing to, well, what have you done? Basically, they're saying, well, they're not doing anything. And I'm saying, okay, well, are you willing to? Like, are you willing to do X, Y, Z? Are you willing to make changes? Listen to this person, do that thing? No, not really. No. Or they'll say yes, yes, yes. And then when they get the advice, they get the information that they need to turn it around and make some changes, they don't. And then, like, for example, let's say they're telling you, okay, they want to date this person. And you're saying, okay, well, tell me about this person. They're telling you they're XYZ, they're this, they're that. These are the characteristics. This is what they're like. And you know that this person is not going to be good for them, but they can't see it because they haven't been working on themselves. They haven't been working on getting, growing their spiritual power, getting closer to God, doing the things that they need to do to have more wisdom to interact with others. And they don't believe that that's a real thing anyway. So you say, okay, from what you told me about this person, it's not going to go well. And they're saying, okay, fine. Um, well, we'll see, they say. Or they just, accept the feedback because sometimes they like attention. So even if they're not going to follow the feedback, they still will accept the feedback from you because they really want you to pay attention. They really want you to listen to them. They really want you to sit and be with them and just focus your time, attention, energy, resources on them because they love to be the center of attention. And you saying, okay, you thinking you have given stellar advice to them, and you saying, okay, yeah, this is great, you should do this, you should do that. And they're like, all right, yeah, okay, cool, yes, yes. They come back to you and they say, I didn't follow your advice, and XYZ happened, which turns out to be the very same thing that you told them would happen if they proceeded the way that they wanted to. They weren't going to listen to you. They didn't listen to you. And when they didn't listen to you, they got the exact outcome that you told them they would. But next time, you do the same thing. You give them the advice. It's stellar, amazing advice. You should pat yourself on the back, collective, because you really knocked it out the park. You really gave them amazing advice. And they did not listen, and they got the same exact results that you said they would. And next time, they're also not going to listen to you. So you say to yourself, like when it comes to the thought swapping thing, how does this come in? First of all, since they don't want to do the work on their mood or, worrying or whatever, the relationship, anything that's going on at work, anything that's going on in their lives, they're not going to listen to you, but they want things to get better. So this could mean for you, let's say they decide, hey, let's be roommates because both of you could save money, you could benefit, and so on. So you say, okay, it's fine. So you get together, you spend a lot of time together, let's say for a short period of time, even. You spend a lot of time together and they have not been working on their stuff and they told you that they haven't, but you have every day faithfully, diligently working on stuff, feeling better, looking better, health is better, all that stuff is better. You did hard work every single day. They didn't. However, it's just like being in a romantic relationship with someone. They get the benefit of the work that you've done because thoughts are things. What does that mean? But if you've ever heard of a mastermind is two or more minds that come together, in the spirit. If you ever hear about Napoleon Hill in his book, The Law of Success, I'm not sure if it's in Think and Grow Rich because I read Law of Success, which is the longer version of it. But I've heard that Think and Grow Rich is much shorter, like abbreviated version of it, kind of watered down. But if you've if you've heard of the term mastermind, it's when two or more minds get together, and maybe three or more. But what happens when you get into this excited or heightened state, your minds connect, and and they become one with each other. And when it happens, you can get information out of each other's minds if you know what you're doing. Like, the more you practice it, the better you can be at it. So in this spirit, like, if you spend enough time with a person, you could do it. You could do the mastermind without even doing anything fancy. You could just be sitting in the room talking, maybe get excited during your discussion, and your minds can connect with each other. This person who doesn't want to do the work, doesn't want to figure out a way to make things better, make their thoughts better, feelings better, minds better, relationships better, they start to get the benefit of the work that you've done. So they start getting your thoughts coming into their minds. But on the other hand, you start getting their thoughts coming into your mind too. Now, if you've been doing the work, you've been feeling good, you're looking good, your health is good, your relationships are good, energy is good, your mind is right, you're thinking the way you need to, your mood is up, you're not worrying too much about things. A normal amount of worrying is fine. So what they do basically, they don't do the work, but they get the benefit of everything that you've done, all the work that you've done, because you're around them. What happens on the other side of it is that it can pull you down. So you feel sad, you feel negative, you feel low, you feel like all these things you start feeling because you're around them. Their thoughts start slipping into your mind, and you start thinking in an unusual way for yourself. And you're thinking to yourself, now, why am I thinking this way? Why am I feeling this way? This is not me. Well, it's because you're hanging around someone whose energy is that way. And it's the same, if you're not careful, if you don't do things to make sure you clear out your energy, and make sure that you do the work to keep yourself feeling good, energized, and all that. Um, you can fall into the same trap or thing if you're empathic, or you have a really strong intuition. You could fall into this path where if you're around people, and all they think about is negative stuff, all they feel is negative stuff. They're down, they're low, they're worried, they're this, they're that. Relationship's terrible. They're always talking about it. They never do work on it. They never want to. You could fall into the same thing. So, your friend, going back to the example with your friend, they don't do any of the work, but they end up feeling so much better because they're around you, and you end up feeling so much worse because you're around them. So, is it fair to you? You've done all the work every day, working diligently, doing what you need to do, having your mind the way you need it to be, and you get the result, you get the benefits. Them, on the other hand, they haven't been doing any work. They're not going to do any work. They already told you, not going to lift themselves up, none of that. But they're feeling better. And they're wondering why you feel so drained, why you're tired, why you don't want to go anywhere, you don't want to do anything. You don't, because they pulled you down. So this is the same thing that can happen in romantic relationships. This is why I'm talking to you about thoughts, because thoughts can slip out of someone else's mind into yours. So you might start noticing, like, the partner that you're with, they're feeling so much better. They're thinking so much better, like they looking better, looking like $1 billion. They, dressing different. Their energy level is different. It's so high, and they're, you know, feeling confident, and all this stuff is happening in their lives, and you feel like the life is slowly being sucked out of you for some of you collective, because you have someone around you that's thought swapping and energy swapping with you. So you got to be careful about this, about who you have around you, about what it is they're like. Because sometimes you want to hang out with friends that are, feeling sad, feeling low, have no energy, they feel zapped all the time, their thinking is not right, their relationships are messed up. All this stuff is happening. Things are not going good for them. And you want to, now don't get me wrong, if you want to try to encourage and pull people up, yes, that's understandable. But if you just want to hang out with someone all the time, spend all your time, energy, resources on a person that's not doing anything to change, you run the risk of thought swapping or energy swapping with them, which means they will go up and you will go down. It will drain you. It can suck the life out of you. And that's like, if you think about it, and it might not be exactly the same thing, but this might be the reason why some people that are super wealthy do not hang out with people that are not super wealthy, because they know that this very same thing could happen to them. It could be energy swapping, thought swapping, which means they go down and you go up. So you benefit, you feel so much better, and they don't. They feel depleted. They start losing things. So what you want your energy, your strength, your thoughts, your habits, all those things to be strong enough so that no matter who it is that you're around, you keep going up and up and up. Because at some point, like you get to a certain point, it's really, really tough for those things to bother you. But for you, why would you plan to continue over and over and over again to hang out with, to spend your time with, your energy, your resources, all that stuff with someone that they're telling you they're not going to change, they don't have any plans to change, they will pull someone down because they want to benefit from someone else's energy, but they don't want to do the work so other people can benefit from theirs. They're not doing anything. They told you so. When you gave them advice, they didn't listen. Why would you want to spend your time and energy with someone who doesn't care if they contribute to anyone else's life in a substantial way? These are things that you want to think about. But the thought swapping thing is real, because I'm sure you've noticed, like, you're around certain people and all of a sudden you feel in the way that they feel. You think the way that they think. And you're like, I don't understand why. Because their thoughts are things and actually float into your head. And the next thing you know, you feel and thinking the same way. Your life is looking the same way theirs is looking. This is not what you wanted for your life. So you got to make sure that you are lifting yourself up, doing the things that you need to do, doing the work so that you can feel better, look better, be in better health, have better energy, and all that stuff. And if you feel like you need to shelter yourself, protect yourself, get your energy back to where it needs to be, then you do that. Because if you don't, like I said, you run the risk of thought swapping with someone and allowing them to drain you and turn your life upside down. It's not fair to you. It's not what you want for yourself. It's not what you deserve if you actually did the work to get yourself to a good place where you wanted to be. So I didn't want this video to be too long. I just wanted to talk about this topic because I think it's an important one. And I want to bring some more videos soon. So of course, watch, read, listen to things that are going to lift you up. Try to surround yourself with the energy of people, experiences, situations, and so on that I mean, is going to lift you up, or that people around you are going to be working toward a common goal of everything getting better for everyone involved. All right, y'all. As always, I'll say happy lightning fast manifesting, and I'm going to talk to y'all again soon. All right. Love y'all. Bye for now.